I train hard, I'm consistent, and I keep catching injuries. The kind that don't ever go away or just keep rotating on my body like I'm on a pinwheel of some sort. I don't like it. Today, Craig is going to explain why this happens, how your physical capacity can actually exceed your tissue capacity, and what that mismatch tells you about your system before the next injury hits.
This is a topic I think that we've circled around for a while, but it's one that I've wanted to dive into for a long time.
Alrighty. Okay, so you said that this kind of topic came from a client this week. Would you like to tell me what happened? And am I this client?
The client is actually a amalgamation of a whole bunch of different clients who have the exact same pattern that's developed. This person came in, and during the course of our conversation, their original reason for coming in was a very specific single injury. And after we started to talk more about it, they reported having back symptoms, knee symptoms, shoulder issues. And what was really clear was those other injuries were still there. They just weren't stopping them from doing everything in the exact same way that this new injury was. It was a pattern that stood out because the person's motivation was great. They're actually very healthy in every other way. They were highly motivated to do more and be able to handle more. And so the real issue wasn't that they hurt. It really wasn't that they had this new issue. It was that they were stuck in a pattern that they couldn't get out of.
I've got both. I did have a new issue, but I'm also stuck in this pattern. And I dig myself out a little bit, and then I dig deeper.
Do you know what the pattern is?
Yes. Get hurt, rehab. Get hurt more, rehab more.
Yes.
Get hurt. What's next?
Well, the biggest part that he missed at the start, though, is his physical capacity is incredibly high. And so when you catch that this is happening over and over again, the pattern is it's a capacity mismatch. And the capacity mismatch, like I always like to show with my hands, is that your physical capacity is up here, your tissue capacity is down here, and that gap between them allow you to feel like you're taking it easy, but you're actually smashing your tissue.
Yeah. It's like you're really strong, but you're actually not.
Well, you actually are strong, though. I mean, think about your squats.
I can do squats, yes.
Yeah, so he can squat really heavy, and you'll have times where it hurts you and it didn't feel hard. Right. That's such a key aspect of it. So like the physical capacity piece, it's like it's your strength, it's your ability to actually do the activity, but that tissue capacity where you actually have a good response, that's the piece that you're missing.
And I just need to stop pissing myself off. Mostly my tissues, tendons, joints, all of the above.
Well, it's kind of sneaky though. It is like sneaky because it's not like
you just wake up one morning, you can't flex your arm. Yeah, extremely sneaky.
Well, that's kind of leads us to the next piece, right? That it's something that can feel easy, but it causes an injury.
What, like give me an example. Sleeping.
I mean, it could be like it can almost be anything. It can be you tried doing a bicep curl and it wasn't even that hard, but then the next day your elbow is like screaming at you, or you do bench press and you're doing 70 pounds, you know you could have done 90 and you still have shoulder pain the next day. It's like you even feel like you're not even pushing it to that level, but every time that you push it even a little bit, even if it's not even close to your max, you still feel like you get blown up.
Yeah. That's me always.
I think the big thing on this though is that your perception of how hard you're working, like that perception of effort is based on physical capacity. But the mistake is that your tissue capacity response is not the same thing. And like that framing is like actually a huge issue because your movement can look beautiful. Like you could probably have where sometimes people will come in and they want to hear from me that they're moving poorly. It's like, no, your movement looks great.
Yeah.
Like that's the issue is not that you're not doing the movement correctly. And then they also feel like, well, is it because I'm getting old? Well, no, it's not also not because you're getting old. This would happen if you were younger as well. This can happen at a very young age and you'll feel like you can't do things and handle it well. But I do know what your framing is. And I can kind of, let me predict it actually.
Okay, go for it.
I think your framing is going to be that it's only happened really recently where you've gotten stuck in this kind of pattern. and it's been holding and you're older than what you were
I
before.
was going to say, yeah, since I've been old and I'm now a year older than I was the last time we recorded, which that may have been 4 weeks ago, but I'm a whole year older in those 4 weeks.
He had a birthday yesterday.
Yeah, it's because I'm getting old.
Yeah, and what I would say is that's just not accurate. It's just this happens to be the time where your pattern has really gone off the rails, and you wouldn't feel that way if your tissue capacity and your physical capacity matched.
I'd like to get back on the tracks. Choo
Yes.
choo.
Well, and but there's also these other reasons, right? Like you're not getting a good feedback loop. Your pain doesn't come on immediately. It feels like super easy. Sometimes it'll feel more like tightness or stiffness, but you tolerate feeling uncomfortable really well, so you'll push right through it. All of those things are happening, and it almost makes it feel unpredictable, but it's really not. It's just your physical capacity is constantly overwhelming your tissue capacity. We'll all have individuals who come in who'll get cortisone injections. They can have peptides. They may do PRP or stem cell, but it doesn't negate the fact that if you go and you still have this large gap between your tissue capacity and physical capacity, that's the root issue.
Yeah.
And if you overwhelm whatever you just got injected, it does not matter. Like it really doesn't matter. You'll still feel that you fall off a cliff. That buildup of the mismatch can take years to develop, but once it happens, and then once you basically pull the trigger and your tissue capacity now is not handling anything that your physical capacity can do, you now have to correct that. If you don't correct that, it's always going to be a loop back to feeling terrible.
Right. And I know we'll dive into that a little bit more in this podcast, just about kind of average capacities and how all of the factors are included in kind of defining your different capacities and what your daily average is. But back to the physical capacity, can you define that a little bit more specifically? I know we've talked about it a bunch of times in the podcast, but I don't know that we've like put a full on
laid out what it is.
Yeah.
So physical capacity at its root is things that you can actually do and things you can perform. I break it up into a few different categories. Number one is the skills. So those are like the learned abilities that you know how to do, how you can coordinate those actions together. The one that I always use as an example is it's a skill to ride a bike. So if you don't know how to ride a bike, you're probably not going to be doing much bike riding, like that type of thing. You're not going to be doing much swimming if you don't know how to actually swim. It's a skilled behavior. The next one is the things that make up that skill, which would be like your strength, your endurance, your coordination, and your speed. So those are the extra, like the intensities aspect of what you can do with those skills that you've developed. Beyond that, I always think of it as also the mentality or the way that you frame the activity that you're doing. So that can be, hey, I just squatted 135 pounds. That's not hard if your one rep max is 500 pounds. That feels really, really light. And so you'll frame some things as relatively light compared to yourself, or you'll frame it as relatively light compared to maybe others. Maybe your training partner is doing 1,000 pounds. Well, then 500 may not seem that big to you, but to everyone else, it's like, holy shit, that's bending the bar.
Right.
Right. And so those kind of comparisons are actually really big to know. And then the last one is your habits and consistency. Something that we talked about early on in the podcast was the idea of putting yourself on your own calendar. That for me comes underneath this physical capacity, your ability to show up to do the activities and things that you actually want to do. That's an aspect of physical capacity.